All right, y'all, we have gathered here today to feel better about our lives by judging make believe characters for the choices that they make. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Y'all already know I'm doing Dune Prophecy reviews all season. I put in my description a link to the playlist that has all my reviews slash reactions slash recaps, whatever you want to call them. I just like to say that this episode, Tula was not playing around with y'all this entire episode. For the first two episodes, I was like, Sister Tula, if you don't stand up right now, if you don't get up, like, oh my gosh, where's your backbone? And yet, by the time this episode ended, I was screaming at my screen, cheering for her, cheering her on. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. So, not gonna waste no time. We open with Valya and Theo getting kicked out of the palace because, they have been barred. Like, that's so wild when you think about it, because, like, it's the Imperium barring the mother superior of the Bene Gesserit from the palace. So that's crazy. Valya talking about this ain't the first time one of my ops done tried me like the others. This soldier will learn, speaking of Desmond Hart, right? And in my head, I'm like, all right, Miss Valya, like, you gonna have to convince me that it's just like, just run of the mill kind of like, ops are against me type stuff, because like Desmond resisted your voice, mama. Like, it was nothing. Okay. So, and he played in your face while he was doing it. Like, he pretended like it was working and stuff. Like, he played in your face completely. So Valya out here grandstanding like, oh yeah, girl, we're gonna get to the bottom of this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, you should be more alarmed than you actually are, like, or at least than what you're showing. Because to me, I'm like, if anyone was resisting my powers or resisting my voice and stuff like that, like, that's a deep issue that we have to address as the Bene Gesserit. But she was just like, it's gonna be fine, girl, I can handle this. That's what she's saying. All right, so now we're taken back in time to when Valya was much younger, right? On the Harkonnen planet that they got banished to. We see them stripping the whales for resources, meat, for whatever. She stops by the market, if you even want to call it that, and she picks up the usual amount of meat. She walks it all the way back in the cold. Like, oh my gosh, y'all ain't got no cars or nothing out there. Child, I know y'all been thinking machines, but I mean, you gotta walk in the cold to get some whale. Like, oh my gosh. I can understand why Valya was at the table mad. She don't want it. She's like, where's the furnace at? Where's the fireplace at? Like, girl, where's the heat at? Y'all ain't tired of eating rocks and pebbles and whale bones and stuff? Like, she mad. So she walks it all the way home to her annoying family. My goodness, they are a mess. As soon as the scene opens, instead of thanking Valya for going out there in the cold to get the meat that y'all stuffing your face with, her mama gonna say, girl, this is stale, honey. Her mama gonna say, girl, this meat is stale. Like, and I think it's a little mold on here too. Like, what's going on? I should have just went out there and swiped my own card for this stuff. That's what Sonya was saying. Sonya really got a mouth on her. But I guess that makes sense, because that mouth done passed right down to Valya. It's genetic. Valya mama annoyed me so much. Do you hear what I'm saying to y'all? Do you hear what I'm saying to y'all? Finally, Griffin is like, y'all, okay, thank both of you, sisters, for preparing this meal. Like, it's really not that serious. Then we see that Valya's uncle is being played by Mark Addy, who played Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones. His voice is so recognizable. Obviously, like, he is recognizable. Like, that voice, honey. HBO be keeping their actors on payroll. Do you hear me? they be swapping them in and out of shows. I love that. Anyway, their brother Griffin is talking about going to Zemia, which I think is the main city of the Corino home planet of Seleucus Secundus, because Landshrad, or I guess the body that represent all the great houses, accepted his petition to secure a better whale meat, whale fur trade deal, or something like that. And Valya, of course, scoffs, right? That House Harkonnen has to be running around selling whale scraps and stuff. Like, she just is not here for it. Also, we see Tula's brother had given her that thing he carved, whatever he carved, that she gave to Lila in the future. To her family, Valya was like, okay, y'all talking about whale fur and whale bones and meat and stuff, when you could be tracking down Vorian and getting him to take back the BS he's been saying about our family so that we can get off this backwater planet. Like, are y'all serious? Valya then gives us a little bit of exposition, a little bit of lore, right? She says to her father, your grandfather, girl, how you pronounce this name? Abelard, girl, sorry to Abelard, but that name's ugly, girl. Abelard, whatever. Harkonnen was a hero, right? He committed no war crime, I guess like they're saying that he did. He tried to stop a genocide and was banished for it. So she's like, y'all can sit here and eat this nasty whale meat, this blubber, okay, while someone lied on our whole entire house, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit here, right? Griffin goes out to find her, even though his mama say, don't go after her. She a wolf, da, 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 da. We find out that Valya first used a voice on him to save him from drowning. Valya must have cleared her throat when she used that voice and said, boy, if you don't get out that water and stop playing with me right now, I'm not getting in that ice water. I'm not getting that liquid nitrogen over there. So you better swim. I'm sure that's what happened. Like, boy, I'm not climbing in that water. You better get out. So yeah, Griffin kind of wants to track down Vorian and get him to take back his lies, restore the dignity, pride of House Harkonnen, right? And I was like, oh, that's so cute watching this. Like, he really thinks that he's going to be living for much longer. That's what I said about Griffin, because I was watching this whole show. Watching this whole scene, and I was like, there's not even a whiff, not even a hint of Griffin in the normal timeline. And I'm like, who, this brother? You have a brother? So I was just like, girl, this boy must have died or something. Girl, I did not expect for it to literally happen in the next scene. I was like, oh, that boy is dead, honey. That boy is dead. Valya ends up telling Tula, like, look, girl, I'm getting out of here. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm getting out of here. I'm going to the Sisterhood. And if you knew what's good for you, you would too. Find something, anything. All that's left here is death and rot. Now, in response to that, Tula talking about some, well, girl, Griffin wouldn't want us to be walking around doing eye for an eye and stuff like that. And at this point in the episode, I was like, Tula, here she go. Here her soft self go. I'm like, girl, you know, first of all, I'm sure the reason your brother was killed in the first place was because he was given eye for an eye. Like, he was going after Atreides and stuff like that. Like, he wanted the smoke. What are you talking about, Tula? So at this point in the episode, I was just not convinced that Tula was really going to give me no wolf type tease, like the kind of stuff that she gave me toward the end. So it's funny to watch, or it's cool to watch that progress, right? So anyway, Valya is like, Vorian murdered our brother and then disappeared. It's not fair. I want the Atreides to suffer like we have. And by the way, I just think that they did really well casting the show, especially like the younger Valya and Tula, comparing them to the older ones. Like, and these actresses are so talented. They really carried, obviously they had to carry this episode, but like they really did a good job. In the aftermath of everything, right, Valya tells her sisters to go back to their nobles and do damage control while she works on resecuring the palace and Imperium and all that. She then gets news that Sister Lila did not survive the agony, right? But then she also gets news that Mother Raquella still spoke. Based off of what Raquella said, Valya was like, yeah, she's definitely talking about Desmond. She's saying that Desmond is the key to solving this, right? While they're talking over here, Sister Theo is looking, you know, she's like, what are they talking about? I feel like Sister Theo is so green and trusting, bro. Like, I don't know, like, especially with how she started that conversation with Princess Inez last episode. It's just like, she's so green, bro. Like, so Valya also spoke about Theo's condition last episode. I wonder what that is. Like, do y'all have any clue? Am I missing something? But like, I don't know what her condition is. All right, so back with the sisters. Here comes Sister Avila, whatever, bringing Tula a blunt, right? So to Sister Avila walked in with this blunt, right? Like, to soothe her nerves. You know, well, she brought her some spiced tea. I almost said iced tea, but some spiced tea, right? She was like, girl, I get that Lila was your favorite, obviously, but like, we got to let her go, mama. No one has ever survived this before. Like, you just have to let her go. She was like, if you want, I can help you do it. And she reached out her hand to touch, she reached out her hand, and Sister Tula said, she snatched that hand right on up. She's like, girl, move. I was like, oh. Tula was like, don't you ever put your hands on her, ever. Don't you ever touch her. That's a young black woman right there. That's a young black woman on the table. This is real life black girl magic. What you talking about? Like, don't you ever. Like, Tula really bucked up, and I was like, oh. Then she dismissed Avila, like, girl, I'm going to do what I want to do when I choose to do it. Bringing me tea and stuff. Give me this. Bring me tea. I mean, her hand was trembling, sipping that tea, mama. I'm looking up at Lila like, girl, if you don't get up, bro, Get up! Anyway, this episode, it was a nice touch seeing how important Tula's brother's gift was to her, and the fact that, like, you know, she gave it to Lila was so sweet, right? Clearly showing how invested she is in this girl, right? All right, so Tula shows up on a horse, young Tula, with this hunk. And I'm just like, girl, he should be working for Tim Tales or something. I was going to say Sean Cody, but I think for this one, Tim Tales might be a better Tim Tales might be a better fit for him. If you know, you know. Obviously, they're together, right? She's waiting to meet this guy's, I think, Ori's family or something. That's his name, Ori. Family for the first time at this, just whatever they were gonna. At this point in the episode, I didn't know what they were doing, but I was like, they camping out or whatever, right? So they're asking the family, asking her about her family, and Tula's like, well, I don't. You see, there's not much of us left, girl. And I had no idea, like, why she was acting this way. It's so funny. Rewatching it is so funny. Then this guy comes, right? And I recognized him immediately. I was like, who's this actor? Quickly, I realized it's Archie, who played Sir Oscar Tully in House of the Dragon. Now, Oscar Tully was the young lord, remember, that Daemon, he was trying to get him to kill his grandpa or something. Daemon's so trifling. Anyway, Tula is teaching him about all this animal stuff. They're trying to hunt a bull by luring it with the guts of this smaller animal here. And by the way, Atreides, I think, are known for their, obviously, are known for their bull hunting parties. Bull symbolism is often associated with House Atreides and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, essentially this scene is just letting us know that there's this one part of this squirrel-looking animal that is very poisonous, so they have to remove it before using the guts as a trap, as bait, right? Obviously this comes into play later on. I loved this scene here because Ori's horse broke its leg in 2 places. And they're gonna put it down. The plan was to put it down by slitting its throat. But Tula was like, girl, at least give me some time to get the poison so you don't have to, like, be doing that. Obviously, I think at this point in the episode, I was thinking that it tied back into how Lila, I do want to say Lila, how Lila was incapacitated by the agony and almost like everybody around her telling her to just put her down. And I was like, is this foreshadowing for real? Like, are y'all really about to, like, kill Lila? Like, what's going, like, don't play with me. But I think this scene, though it did allude to Lila, it definitely was foreshadowing a different scene, girl. Okay, so, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so here is when Valya is being trained, right? And I think Dorothea, I was calling her Dory. I'm about to call her Dory, honey, and it makes sense, I guess, because, girl, finding Dory. Can we find Dorothea? I guess, what you call it, Tula and Lila was not trying to find Dorothea, but they definitely found her. They definitely did. Either way, here Valya's being trained. I think Dorothea is being very heavy-handed. Like, obviously, it was because she knew Valya's values definitely didn't align with hers. Like, she could definitely tell that Valya, values her name, her Harkonnen name over the Sisterhood. But wow, to me, calling her out like that in front of the whole class was a lot. But that's what these zealots do. Like, especially they witnessing, they out here, like, they have to let you know that you are going to be judged and you're about to burn. Like, that's what zealots do. So, I mean, she was out here, like, really dragging her. She said, in front of everybody, she said, tomorrow you will be tested. Humble yourself and commit to the Sisterhood or resign yourself to an unremarkable life on a backwater planet. And it's like, whoa, mama, you lucky you didn't get slapped right there. You lucky you didn't get slapped right. I would have reached up so quick. Don't play with me. Did you just insult my hometown? Which, I mean, I didn't even want to be banished to. Y'all have got to stop playing. Dorothea, girl, that's why no shade, Dorothea. Like, you really came on really strong, bro. Like, I don't know. Now, I thought this scene was so funny in the beginning because I would be so mad if I came to train with the Bene Gesserit and they had me outside doing laps in the cold, running around like we doing track and field in the rain and stuff. Like, are you serious? I came to train because I was going to be next to nobles and sitting in, great halls and sitting in offices and meetings, not doing PE. Like, y'all got to be kidding me. Anyway, the trainees were told to stay out here and meditate until, you can truthfully say that you will put the sisterhood above all. I mean, they stayed out there until it rained. Sister Valya was the last one out there while, all of that downpour was still coming down. Dorothea was like, girl, guess what? Let me tell you something. Guess what? You ain't gonna have me out here all day. This was supposed to be a quick exercise for the class, and I left something on the stove while we at it, so I need to go. She was like, girl, but before I go, let me tell you something. We both know what was gonna happen today. We both know that you'll always be a Harkonnen before anything else. And they left sis out there in the cold and rain. And I was like, wow, Dorothea. Like, Valya sliced that throat. So the Mother Superior, Raquella, she comes to Valya while she's standing out there. I'm sure she was like, girl, y'all left this student on the cliff. Like, y'all can't be serious. Either way, Valya ends up stopping Mother Superior with her voice, which gags Raquella, right? And she tells her as much later on when they're talking. Then Raquella gonna start her sermon. She gonna talk about some crisis, survival, advancement. And I'm just like, girl, what you need to be saying is wrinkles, gray hair, and prosthetics. Cause I don't know why HBO didn't just hire someone who was just like actually much older. Like, it throws me off cause I can tell it's somebody a little younger under here, but whatever. Raquella said to Valya, like, girl, you can do extraordinary things here. Like, the sisterhood could definitely benefit from your presence, right? So we switch it, right? I guess this is the bull hunting party or something. Like, these men putting all this black tar on their bare chests and holding each other, swinging around the fire. I'm just like, girl, I guess straight men always doing some weird stuff. As long as they can convince themselves that it's manly, they gonna keep doing it. That's why they slapping each other's butts in sports on the field and the weird stuff they do in the locker room. But let me not get to preaching about how weird some of these straight men are. Anyway, either way. Tula saw all that stuff going on. But she was like, girl, I'm gonna go chill with my men. Her men brings up that she doesn't really talk about her family. And it's so funny because I was watching the episode, the first time thinking that the only reason she's not talking to this guy about her family is because she hates her family so much and they really ain't messing with her like that. And I guess Ori thought the same thing too with his oblivious self. So he gonna ask Tula to marry him. And though she does kiss him, she don't respond to the question. I'm just like, girl, that's not a response. That's not an answer to the question. You kiss, but at the same time, what better way to distract a man from an answer than with your cat? Tula opened that cat up. Do you hear me? I'm like, she used to get down. She used to get nasty. Okay, Tula opened that cat up. Now, I would just like to say here that this love scene was so, like, a trillion times better than the last three I've seen. How many I've seen in this show. I don't know if it's because the actors here are much stronger or if they have better chemistry or if it's because we got to see them interact with each other in a relationship or, whatever kind of interaction before they had sex. But this scene was much easier to watch than the others. It probably had to do with, like, how good their story, like the Tula and Ori's story is, maybe, but like maybe it's the actors too, because I was just like, okay, I could deal with this, Now, while they were screwing, the circle jerk, I was gonna say the circle jerk outside, but they was out there chanting. The circle jerk was out there chanting Atreides, and as soon as they started chanting Atreides, I was like, what do y'all mean Atreides? Like, what are y'all saying? What do you mean y'all around the fire chanting Atreides? What do you mean? What are you saying? Are y'all just chanting Atreides' name because he's a war hero and blah 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 blah? Like, what is going on? My brain was slowly putting it together, And the show didn't even give me no time to think about it at all, because the next scene is Tula trying to get away from Ori and his big arms. And I was like, oh gosh, she gonna leave him. She really gonna leave him. I was like, she gonna sneak out. She gonna leave him. Like, why? What's going on? Like, what's the tea? Child, it was so much worse than that. Girl, as soon as Ori get up, he talking about some, oh yeah, you ready to join the Atreides clan. I was like, girl, what are you talking about? I was like, girl, you messing with an Atreides? I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? So, but watching the scene again with the knowledge of what she did is so wild. Like, it's crazy. So she tells this guy, like, hey, I'm a Harkonnen. And he does not care. Like, he does not care at all. He's truly in love with this girl, head over heels. And Tula's kind of gagged, right? Like, she's gagged that he doesn't care. I think that would have made it so much easier for Tula if he just like turned around and flipped a switch and started hating her as soon as he found out that she was a Harkonnen. But I think that stung for Tula even more, that she's about to do this to him. She's doing this to him, and he still doesn't care that that she's a Harkonnen, right? And so this guy's like, okay, well, you know, I want to go through with it still. Like, that beef between our families is so old. How many, like, we can carve a new path. And Tula was like, I think it ain't no path left to carve. What you need to be doing is carving the ground to make some graves, baby. Tula was like, girl, I get that you want to get married, but some things can't be changed. My brother will still be dead, and it will still be an Atreides who killed him. And he was like, girl, what are you talking about? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, why is outside so quiet? The boys were outside, you know, touching on each other, getting their lives. You know what I mean? They were outside kicking their feet and giggling and stuff. And they had started a fire. They were telling stories about their first time. Like, what was going on? Like, why is it so quiet outside right now? And I was like, oh my God. Like, watching it the first time, I was, oh my God, she killed this whole family. I was like, she killed this whole like, she really killed this whole family with that squirrel poison, with that poison from them possums. I was watching like, did she really off this boy's whole family, bro? Girl, this boy walks outside, bro. Like, this boy walks outside, and all his partners dead, bro. All his people's dead, bro. Family reunion turned into a family funeral. Do you hear what I'm saying to y'all? Then Tula sticks him with the poison, and he also dies. Now, rewatching the episode, I was like, okay, so the horse scene was probably meant to allude, like I said earlier, to Lila's situation, but it was hardcore foreshadowing this scene, in my opinion. We do what we must. Then she looks up and tells this boy to go. And it's crazy because that boy, like, you helped me kill your family, bro. Like, you was over there with me separating the guts and stuff. Like, you helped me do this. Now, in y'all opinion, is this boy meant to be the Atreides swordmaster, or am I like reaching and messing up the timeline and stuff? Like, I don't know. Like, is this meant to be the Atreides swordmaster? I didn't pay attention to the name or anything, right? To the boy's name. So maybe I'm completely off, right? But I don't know. It's gonna be fun to see how this comes back to haunt the Harkonnens. Then, I mean, it already is. Then she sees the bull that they were luring, but also obviously the bull is like symbolism, and you know, looking over what happened, like symbol. It's definitely symbolism. Now when Dorothea says in front of her followers, "Thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of a human mind," and her followers repeat it as Raquella and Valya walk underground, I definitely took that to mean that Dorothea already knew about the fact that the sisters had thinking machines below, or at least Mother Raquella had thinking machines below, like we saw at the end with Tula and Lila, which I think could probably lean into why Mother Raquella just was like, well, my granddaughter is a Bible thumper. Like, she is not going to be okay with taking the Bene Gesserit where I think we need to go, right? Like, I think that, I mean, so many reasons why. And that's probably why she was like, well, I cannot hand over the Bene Gesserit to Dorothea. She's going to, she's not going to take it where we need to go. So, Raquella shows Valya her life's great work, right? They've been gathering DNA, like we know, from across the Imperium, creating a vast genetic library. They play matchmaker with the houses. They want to influence generations to come and foster better leaders, whatever the Bene Gesserit considers to be better leaders, right? Here, Valya shows her acolyte friends that she can use the voice. She tells them that she is probably next in line to lead the Sisterhood. But Mother Raquella saw what was happening and decided to deal with all this by trying to make both Valya and Dorothea Reverend Mothers. She was like, y'all are both gaining followers. We got to make sure that the Sisterhood won't be divided. And now it's crazy that I'd be forgetting that Raquella is Dorothea's grandmama. And I guess Raquella be forgetting that too. Sorry to Dorothea. No shade, mama. Now, I found it so interesting that Valya ended up refusing to do the agony. I think we're made to, obviously, we're made to think that Dorothea went ahead and did hers. Raquel is reading Tula's messages to Valya here. And I'll be like, girl, are you, like, can you not open my letters? But it's the Bene Gesserit. Tula sent Valya a code that said, hey, you know, the deed is done. And Raquel recognized it as code, but didn't really push. She was just like, okay, you can go home, Valya, and take care of what you need to take care of. But you really have to do it. You need to finish your business with your house so you can actually dedicate yourself to the sisterhood. She gave her the poison or whatever and said, girl, when you come back, you better be a Reverend Mother or just don't come back at all. And like, I guess I can understand that from the Bene Gesserit's perspective of like, girl, we are already letting you have so much leeway anyway, going back, holding on to your name like this. But Raquel is just like, okay, you can come back, but you will have to have undergone the agony. Now she leaves, but not before one of Dorothea's followers calls her a coward on the way out. All right, y'all, like y'all really feeling really mighty right now. Y'all feeling really mighty right now. So Valya returns and meets up with Tula. She's like, girl, I didn't think you could do it. And Tula was like, girl, me neither. What are you talking about? He was fine. She was like, girl, I was going to ride that man off into the sunset. I really was. Then Valya was like, oh, well, Griffin would be proud. And would he? That's what Tula was like, girl. That's what Tula said. Tula's like, I don't know about all that. Now, Valya's mama, oh my gosh. Valya's mom still doesn't give any agency to Tula, even after Tula made the decision on her own accord to massacre the Atreides. Like, even after all that, Sonia Harkonnen still does not see Tula, I don't think, right? Because the attention is all on Valya and what she did and how she's twisting the family and da-da-da-da. Her family's like, girl, you shouldn't have come back. That massacre is going to blow back on us. And Valya said, you should be thanking Tula because she did what none of y'all could. She punished the family that destroyed ours and killed Griffin. But Valya's mother keeps dragging it. She drags it. And Valya got tired of it, used a voice on her and told her to pick up that knife. She didn't make her kill herself, but like it definitely seemed like it was crossing her mind. Like, I thought she was going to say those words, hun. She gets called sorceress on the way out by Robert Baratheon, and she goes out and ends up taking the rustic poison. That was the right time to do it. I think I would have done it then too. Like, my family didn't make me so angry, like angry enough to put this stuff in my eye and just be done with it, right? I would have loved to see some part, like even if it's just a couple sentences of what her ancestors said to her, like something. It would have been fun to see that. But maybe we might later on, right? Like maybe we might. When Tula finds Valya, Valya tells her that she heard Tula's voice, and of course that's, I think, tying back into when later on when Valya tells Tula that she needs to help Lila go through the agony, and when she says, well, you've done this kind of stuff before, right? So Tula ends up telling Valya that she's going with her to the Sisterhood or whatever, and that it'll be a fresh start for them both. Moving on, the acolytes come to say goodbye to Lila, and Jen definitely has a problem with all of this, understandably. She feels the sisters manipulated Lila into doing the agony. Sister Vila then comes back by saying, well, you know, the sisterhood is built on sacrifice, and y'all knew that. We should respect any sister who lays down her life for our cause. We should respect Mother Tula as well, which Tula was kind of gagged about. So yeah, they all said their goodbyes, and I was like, Tula, please do not take them things off her. Please, someone save my good sis, Lila, like, please. So Theo asks Valya who they're gonna meet at the end of the episode, right? And not a moment later, it becomes clear that Valya has gone back to House Harkonnen, right? And so we're going to see what comes of that, because she went to go see her uncle or whatever. So we're going to see what comes of that when I say that I love this next scene here. Just from Mother Tula's disposition, her demeanor here, I was like, she's hiding something. And she better be hiding Lila. Like, don't play with me. So here comes Sister Avila's silly self talking about some, oh, it must have been so difficult for you to let Lila go. I'm so sorry, Miss Mamash. I'm sorry, girlie. And Tula's like, yeah, girl, I'm sorry too. It's so difficult. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I got somewhere to go. I was like, yeah, girl, she got Lila somewhere. She has to. I was like, you better have Lila somewhere. Right? I was like, well, where'd she put her? Like, in my head, I was thinking all this, like, so quickly. I was like, well, where would she put her? Where would she hide her? And I was like, immediately, she's gonna put her underground. She didn't. If she starts going underground is what I said to myself. I was like, if Tula starts going underground, she done hit Lila, bro. And that's exactly where she went. She started going underground. I was like, yeah, my girl. That's right. She got my girl. She got Lila in one of them thinking machines or whatever, which they are not supposed to have, right? Like, oh my gosh, the Imperium freaked out about a toy when Pruitt had a toy. Imagine if people knew that these sisters had thinking machines for real, like big thinking machines, girl. Like, no, it ain't no play stuff. It ain't no toys. It also makes me wonder who else has them, but it's acting like they don't. Like, does Imperium I just don't think the Imperium don't have them, like in some ditch, some dungeon somewhere like the sisters do, right? So it makes me wonder what other organizations, what other individuals have this technology. Either way, Tula tells the machine spice can rejuvenate the mind. She still has a chance if you administer the correct dosage. And the machine's like, girl, what do you mean? What do you mean, Mother Valya? Where's Mother Valya? It's forbidden. What do you mean? And Tula's like, girl, shut that up. I got the keys. I got the keys right now. So you need to do what I say. When I say I absolutely love this episode, and I'm going to say about every single episode now, but I'm like, y'all, like, this show is fun. Like, this is what I want to see. Please don't give us like 100,000 seasons, right? Just tell us, because the timeline is endless in Dune. Just tell us a good story. I don't even know, 5-6 seasons, something like that, and then hang it up. Because if you keep the story this good and this compact and this precise and concise, and just tell us a good story for 5, 6, 7 seasons, something like that, 5, 6 seasons, it'll be good. Just keep. Oh my gosh, Tula ain't playing with y'all. I love how we were watching the show, like, Tula, stand up, bro, stand up, and Tula does stand up. She does stand up, but she does it in her own way, and it can be just as venomous, I would say, as Valya when it needs to be, right? So I just love this episode. Tell me what y'all thought about it. Love y'all so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you had as much fun listening to this as I did making it. Check out the playlist with the rest of my Dune Prophecy reviews and recaps in it. Check my description box for that. Also, patreon.com/AvatarAdrian, Zoraxia.com. Get your life. Love y'all so much, and I'll check y'all later. Peace. Make sure that you're going to www.zoraxia.com. When you join the waitlist there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, this sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zoraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff, so just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zoraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zoraxia, The Vengeance of Cold Wind, right? And go to Zoraxia.com, sign up, join the waitlist, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.